Kris straight up pimped me and Kendall. She only cares about money and used all of us sisters for it. She'd take us to parties when we were super young, and rich people would pay her a good amount.
Hey, anybody recognize this cabin right here that Kris Jenner's at? Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
I now hold the opinion that Kim Kardashian is a prostitute, and I'm not going to edit this opinion. Kim Kardashian is a prostitute. Her mother is a pimp.
This federal RICO though, on KK and Kris. Ooh, the federal RICO I'm about to drop. Anybody know Kim and cool with Kim? They need to tell her now. The rain is coming, the feds is coming.
Y'all, buckle up, because the latest tea involving Kris Jenner just cracked the internet in half. And if even half of this is true, Hollywood might never recover. Word on the street is that a former Yeezy employee spilled everything, and apparently Kanye stumbled upon some disturbing receipts about Kris. We're talking allegations that she wasn't just a momager, but a potential recruiter for some of the darkest elites in the industry. Yes, those elites, the Epstein circle. And suddenly, all the pieces start to click. Sources claim Kanye became terrified for North and Chicago after discovering Kris allegedly planned to groom them into the same machine she built, using Kim, Kylie, and the rest. Because for Kris, fame isn't a gift, it's a currency, and she's always willing to spend her own children.
Did you help Kim release her sex tape?
It's okay. No.
True. Of course it's true.
Thank you.
Of course it's true.
Just think about it. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you to think about some of the stuff I tell you. I don't want you to hate me because I make one suggestion. It's a little intense.
But wait, the rabbit hole is way deeper than any of us thought. Remember that insanely extravagant 70th birthday bash Kris threw last month? Everyone said it felt weird, out of touch, almost cult-like. Well, insiders are now whispering that it wasn't a celebration. It was a gathering, a secret meetup for Hollywood's most powerful names who might share one very dark connection: Epstein. Because tell me why Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg were there? Since when do the rulers of Silicon Valley hit VIP tables with the Kardashians? That's not a friend group. That's a strategic meeting. And the timing? Too perfect. Kris hosts her grand elite summit. Then suddenly Epstein emails drop like a nuke just days later. That's not coincidence. That's panic control. So while Kris is smiling for the cameras, the internet is side-eyeing harder than ever. Something is brewing, and Kris Jenner is at the center of it.
Like good American on the outside. I've got Skims on the inside.
Wait, say that again?
I'm drinking 818 like crazy.
Okay, so let's start with what this former Yeezy employee allegedly leaked, because it's wild. According to a complaint obtained by People, this ex-staffer claims that Kanye instructed him to dig into the Kardashians, like full-on investigation mode, because he believed the family might have dangerous connections behind the scenes. We're talking criminal circles, power players, and whispered accusations that sound straight out of a Hollywood conspiracy thriller. And here's where things explode. Kanye himself recently doubled down online, writing, "Kim Kardashian is a trafficker, and y'all don't believe me and just say I'm crazy." That post shook the internet, not because Kanye said something shocking, that's practically his trademark, but because he said it with so much conviction, like he knows something the rest of us don't. And the scary part? This isn't the first time he's sounded the alarm. Kanye has been publicly paranoid for years that the Kardashians could drag North and Chicago into something dark, that fame and influence come with a price, and he's terrified his daughters might end up paying it. Whether Kanye is trying to protect his family or spiraling into something bigger, that's the question nobody can ignore anymore.
The grandmother that signed for the daughter to do the tape has the rights to the names and the likeness of my black children. That's who we're dealing with. And I bet not one celebrity say
Yeah.
They ain't gonna say They're gonna be like, oh man, I'm sorry about your cousin.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, has disclosed disturbing details, accusing Kardashian of a scheme involving drugging high-profile men.
Remember back in 2020, right before Kim filed for divorce? Kanye went full nuclear on Kris Jenner. He publicly called her out for allegedly pushing Kim to do a Playboy shoot and wrote, "I put my life on the line that North's mother would never sell her tape." Boom. That wasn't just a tweet. That was a warning. A red flag waving so hard it could be seen from space. And Kanye didn't stop there. He also went after Kris's longtime boyfriend, Corey Gamble, declaring that neither Kris nor Corey were allowed anywhere near his kids. When you read between the lines, it's chilling. Kanye clearly stumbled onto something that terrified him, something about Kris that made him fear for North and Chicago's safety. And honestly, the internet can't stop speculating what that something could be. Because when Kanye talks, it's never just drama. There's always a reason.
So for the culture, y'all don't want me, because I feel like the culture didn't stand up for me when I asked y'all to. We're all.
What did you ask for the culture to stand up for, though?
These women kidnapped my child in broad daylight.
So Kanye flew home last night. And he came back this morning. I want to show you guys what he got me. Gorgeous.
Oh my God.
He got me all of the sex tape back.
And now, with these fresh reports claiming Kris might have been the Ghislaine Maxwell of Hollywood, suddenly, everything starts to make sense. Let's talk about that bizarre birthday party Kris threw recently. Sure, she's had extravagant bashes before, but this one was different. Way different. The guest list alone had the internet doing double takes. Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, rubbing elbows with Paris Hilton, Beyoncé, Oprah, and Tyler Perry. It wasn't just a party, it was a summit of the elite, all under one glittering, insanely expensive roof. And get this, insiders are whispering that the event cost a staggering $6.5 million. That's not a celebration, that's a power move. And in the context of these new allegations, suddenly, every detail about that night looks suspicious.
Let's take a look inside Kris Jenner's 70th billionaire birthday bash, where the police were allegedly called. Jeff Bezos hosted at his $165 million mansion in Beverly Hills. The theme was a play on James Bond's 007. Inside the party, you could find all the billionaires, including Mark Zuckerberg, Oprah Winfrey, Bill Gates, Prince Harry, and Meghan Markle, her daughter and alleged billionaire Kylie Jenner, Kim, Kendall, Khloe, and of course all of Kylie's friends. For the Housewife fans, funny how Lou M. Taylor's here, Vin Diesel, Hailey Bieber, Justin Bieber, who walked out with mysterious white stuff on his pants, and many more. The guests received 2 gifts, Wayfair Ray-Bans, and special Kris Jenner Dunkin' Donuts. Bruno Mars played, and this is when the police showed up. TMZ and the Daily Mail are alleging the cops came several times during Kris Jenner's birthday bash because of the Bruno Mars performance. I don't mean to be mean or negative, but this party gave extremely bad vibes. And if you watch this video back, or just go look online, most everyone walking in, including her daughter, were trying to cover their faces. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts below.
The entire situation just felt off. Because let's be real, when have we ever seen Bill Gates casually sipping champagne with the Kardashians? Or Mark Zuckerberg posing under a disco ball with Hollywood's glam squad? Exactly. So why did they suddenly show up for Kris? And why this year, of all years? The timing sent the internet into a frenzy. Kris's celebration happened right after the Epstein-related emails dropped. Emails mentioning several of the same high-profile individuals who were photographed smiling at Kris's event. Coincidence? The internet doesn't think so. Online sleuths are theorizing that this wasn't a birthday party at all, but a closed-door gathering for the most powerful names tied to Epstein's orbit.
I was 14 years old. I was 16 years old. This was me when I met Jeffrey Epstein.
Is there anything that you wish the cameras hadn't seen?
Probably my stripper pole episode.
I'll shoot it.
Girls Gone Wild is like this. Woo, woo, woo!
A check-in moment for those terrified that the wrong person might start talking. Whether it's all speculation or there's a deeper truth hiding behind those velvet ropes, nobody can shake the feeling that this party was more about protection than celebration.
You continue to meet with him over several years, and that, in other words, a number of meetings. What did you do when you found out about his background?
Well, I said I regretted having those dinners, and there's absolutely nothing new on that.
Is there a lesson for you, for anyone else looking at this?
Well, he's dead, so in general, you always have to be careful. I'm very proud of what we've done in philanthropy, very proud of the work.
Reddit is dragging Kris Jenner's latest party straight into the pits of conspiracy hell. One person asked the most obvious question of the century. Why are all these rich and powerful people celebrating Kris freaking Jenner? And the reply came in hotter than TMZ on a Friday night. Because she's a pimp, and a lot of these people have either benefited from her, paid for her services, or gained pleasures through her circle. It's not rocket science. And then the comment section turned into a crime board. Another user said, "People underestimate how influential she is. This is Epstein-level pimpage." Then someone else chimed in with the ultimate mic drop. Ghislaine Maxwell got caught? You think Kris might too? Fingers crossed. But this is where the real parallel emerges. Epstein and Ghislaine weren't just monsters. They were financial masterminds behind a web of money that flowed through the world's most powerful banks. JP Morgan reportedly ran 134 accounts for Epstein, pushing over $1 billion while ignoring red flags so bright they practically screamed. Deutsche Bank? Same shady dance. Now, why does that suddenly sound familiar? Because Kris Jenner's rise in Hollywood has always been wrapped in whispers of shady deals, suspicious cash, and money laundering setups that you will never see on the Kardashians. Maybe not on Epstein's scale, but the pattern? It's there. Let's talk about Kris's holy side hustle, the California Community Church. Kris calls herself a lover of Christ online, but her version of worship comes with a price tag. Members aren't just donating. They're paying $1,000 a month plus handing over 10% of their income. And because the church is legally a charity, Kris walks away with a 10% tax break every single year. Hallelujah for loopholes. Even better, when one of the Kardashian kids needs a last-minute tax write-off, they just donate to mommy's church. The money stays exactly where it started, inside the empire. Receipts? Oh, we have receipts. Tax records show Kim listed Kris's church as the beneficiary of her eBay charity auctions, raking in almost $45,000 from fans who thought they were supporting a real cause. Plot twist, the cause is Kris. And then there's the Kardashian obsession with building, flipping, rebuilding, flipping again. When Kylie announced yet another mega mansion right next to Kris, the internet immediately screamed money-moving scheme. Because who buys homes like they're handbags? Unless the walls are doing more than just looking pretty. But wait, Corey Gamble enters the chat. His whole aura deserves an HBO investigative series. Because according to Kanye West, who, let's be honest, has dropped some accurate bombs before, Corey isn't just the boyfriend. He's the handler, the middleman, the bridge between Kris's alleged underground empire and law enforcement itself. Rumor has it Corey has deep ties to intelligence agencies and extremely powerful operators. Kanye flat out said Corey was CIA, sent into the Kardashian home, and then a leaked clip showed Kanye on the phone, doubling down, Corey is CIA. So if Kris really is Hollywood's most powerful puppeteer, then Corey might be the guy holding the scissors, ready to cut any string that slips out of line. The internet moved faster than ever. The second an Epstein survivor dropped a hint about a manager steering her daughters into dangerous circles, every timeline lit up, and all fingers snapped to point at Kris Jenner like it was the obvious missing piece. The details dovetailed so eerily with what people remember about Kylie and Kendall's teen years that it felt less like coincidence and more like choreography, in the worst possible way. Then the story curdled. Kim got pulled into the swirl. Allegations started to claim she wasn't just the family favorite. Some sources now say she quietly kept the machine running, nudging her little sisters toward older men with links to that same shadowy world. Put another way, those whispers that used to sound like salacious gossip suddenly read like warnings people ignored. Once the viral flames took hold, everyone raced back to the one line people had been shouting for years, the ages. The survivor's description of being unbearably young triggered a wave of reminders. Kylie and Kendall were basically kids when Kris began styling them, posing them, and managing their image like grown adults. When you hear that, those old rumors stop sounding like celebrity fodder and start sounding like something a lot more serious.
I'm so upset.
Everybody thinks they know the whole story, and they don't.
You know, it's bullshit.
which is why this spiral exploded so fast online. Is it proof? Not yet. Is it ugly and unsettling? Absolutely. And once the internet smells a pattern, it won't let go, especially when the pattern fits the script people have been whispering about for years.
Good American on the outside. I've got Skims on the inside.
Wait, say that again?
I'm drinking 818 like crazy.
Kylie Jenner. And I'm Kendall Jenner. And welcome to our Teen Vogue photo shoot.
Can we just stop for a second? Kylie describing being terrorized by grown men and invasive paparazzi as a teen is horrifying. Not rumor, but something she has herself described in interviews, and it sticks with you. She's talked about men yelling lewd things, photographers trying to flash or pull at her clothes, cars getting blocked, even stalking-like moments that read straight out of a cheap horror film, and she said it felt worse when she was younger. Instead of pulling her out, the machine pushed her farther in, treating it like a business move. That's why people went digging back through the archive. Even early blogs kept linking a teenage Kylie to older men in the family's orbit. And then Tyga starts showing up everywhere. Parties, concerts, late-night hangouts. Precisely at the age slice that makes the timeline feel off to a lot of people. It was happening before she was legally an adult, the internet argues, and that's the reason those old dating whispers never truly died. They just turned into something creepier when you line up the dates and the footage.
The thing we don't talk about enough is how the Kardashians supported this relationship between Kylie and Tyga when the age gap was wild and they met when she was very young.
And then, like someone flipped a switch, the minute she turned 18, everything went from hush-hush to glossy and totally fine overnight. That abrupt pivot has nagged at people for years. Why did the tone change so suddenly? Why did the protect and package playbook kick in the moment she crossed that line? Now, with a survivor's comments back in the mix, that old, uneasy memory hits like a truck. The timeline that used to sit awkwardly in the background is suddenly front and center, and everyone's re-examining those early moves, the PR spin, and the timing that made the whole thing feel less like growing up and more like a carefully staged finish line.
Just think about it. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you to think about some of the stuff I tell you. I don't want you to hate me because I make one suggestion. It's a little intense.
Oh, wait. I think T's here. I'll call you back.
Ask anyone why they don't trust Kris with this timeline, and you'll get the same flat answer. It never felt protective. It felt like a manager chasing headlines, not setting boundaries. Instead of a safety net, people saw a strategy. Younger kids staged and packaged to sell an image. If Kylie's timeline already made folks uneasy, Kendall's pushed the panic button. She wasn't tangled in the same messy dating whispers, but she was shoved into high-fashion rooms at an age when most teens are still arguing with algebra. Signed to an agency at 14, Wilhelmina, archives note. Doing shoots and industry events by 16 to 17, surrounded by grown photographers, stylists, and agents. It reads now like a grown-up world built around a kid. And those old clips, with today's lens, they hit different. The Marc Jacobs runway at 18, that sheer top moment, didn't come from nowhere. It arrived on the back of a machine that turned growing up into a launch plan. And for a lot of people, that fact is worse than any gossip.
Hi, Vogue. It's Kendall. We're at the Met Gala. I'm wearing Marc Jacobs. Oh my God, I black out on the red carpet, and I try to remember to breathe.
This didn't begin the minute she turned 18. It was simmering way before that. The networking, the late-night parties, the fashion week rooms full of older industry guys, all the grown-up choreography that usually comes later was happening around her when she was still a kid. Fans have been ripping through old clips from that era, replaying the nights and the backstage shots, reliving the whispers. Kendall linked to Harry Styles in tabloids while she was still 17, and it all looks different under today's light. Nobody's saying those vintage headlines are definitive proof, but when the timelines line up and the footage keeps popping up, it stops feeling like coincidence and starts feeling like a pattern people can't and won't forget.
Which songs on your last album were about me?
I see it jiggling.
Really?
Yeah. I'm really jiggling.
Photos, blurry yacht snaps, late-night dinners, the internet debated every frame like it was evidence. Nothing was ever officially confirmed, but the montage of moments had people asking questions. Those hangouts, the backstage whispers, the timing, it all felt loaded. Of course, the internet dug deeper. Old friendships, past party circles, and every tenuous link got pulled back into the light. Naomi Campbell's name reappeared in the thread after a younger model later accused her of trying to usher girls toward older men. Corey Gamble's ties to big names got a fresh, suspicious gloss, and the allegations around Diddy blew up so big they birthed documentaries and celebrity responses. Put it all together, and you've got a rumor machine that won't stop. Not because it's proven, but because every resurfaced clip and whispered connection makes the whole timeline look darker than anyone wants to admit.
Let me ask you about Corey Gamble. He was at Kim Porter's death scene.
Yeah, I know. And he was also the nigga that took Tory Lanez.
Put that next to the Kardashians constantly orbiting those old Hollywood invite-only party circles, the velvet rope rooms with wildly questionable reputations, and people start to notice the same faces popping up again and again. Online sleuths point out how many of those names allegedly overlap with social worlds. Some reports tie, however loosely, to Epstein, and once you see the pattern, it's hard to unsee. Then Ray J drifts back into the conversation, and the internet collectively groans. He didn't start naming sources or laying out receipts, but he did drop a heavy hint about Kris, the kind of offhand line that reads like, "I saw more than I should have," and instantly fuels the rumor engine. It's not smoking gun proof, it's gossip, old connections, and a bunch of half-remembered moments stitched together until the whole thing looks a lot darker than anyone wants to admit.
This federal RICO though, on KK and Kris. Ooh. The federal RICO I'm about to drop on Kris and Kim is about to be crazy.
I was just gonna handle this shit legally, right? And just hit you in court and just get what I'm deserved from all of y'all being foul and trying to defame me. You wanna play games with me? Okay, let's play. We going through receipts tonight, Kris. We going through receipts tonight, Kim. You have with the wrong person.
Did you help Kim release her sex tape?
And then, boom, legal fireworks. The moment Ray J started dropping those cryptic RICO hints, the clan's lawyers moved, and legal threats and lawsuits followed. But the internet doesn't hit delete just because a courtroom drama starts. Once a rumor gets oxygen online, it lives forever, and that's exactly why nobody can bury this. Ray J was everywhere back then, at the house, in the business, around the crew while Kendall was still a teenager. So the one-liners he tossed out read now like a guy nudging, "I know things," even if he never laid out names, dates, or receipts.
He got me all of the sex tape back.
Oh my God.
And he flew home and got the computer. It was on the hard drive. And met up with Ray J at the airport and got it all back for me.
Oh, Kim.
Oh my God.
That's amazing.
People hear that and wonder what he actually saw. They stitch his offhand lines into the rest of the timeline, and it suddenly looks like someone whispering from inside the machine. Meanwhile, fans say Kris's team has been moving like an emergency crew, scrubbing comments, flooding feeds with wholesome family snaps, rolling out perfectly timed interviews and birthday posts that try to bury the noise under glitter. It reads, to a lot of people, like distraction theater. Sparkle on the surface while something messier gets shuffled away behind closed doors. And in gossip land, that kind of choreography only makes the rumor mill roar louder. But here's the part that really sent the internet into orbit. Whenever Kris starts the classic distraction routine, Kim isn't ever far behind, and that's not an accident to anyone who watches this family's playbook. Kim has long been seen as Kris's golden child, the one who shot the clan into global fame, and people still point to the infamous tape as the moment everything changed. For years, whispers have circled. Some fans and a handful of sources even suggest Kris played a hand in orchestrating the optics. And whether you call it rumor or strategy, the pattern feeds itself. Kim glows on cue, headlines flip to party pics and feel-good family moments, and the chatter about darker corners gets drowned out. It looks to a lot of online sleuths like a perfectly timed two-step, distraction, then reassurance, and that choreography is what keeps the wildfire from dying. As the internet erupts with whispers and wild rumors about Kim Kardashian's alleged entanglement in Diddy's shady empire, Caitlyn Jenner steps out of the shadows with revelations that could rewrite the whole story. According to insiders, Caitlyn didn't hold back, claiming that it wasn't Kim who eagerly dove into this mess, but rather her mother, Kris Jenner, who allegedly dragged her daughter into a dark, dangerous world fueled by power, money, and manipulation.
Did you help Kim release her sex tape?
It's okay. No. No.
True. Of course it's true.
Thank you.
Of course it's true.
Going through receipts tonight, Kris. We going through receipts tonight, Kim. You want to see the sex tape contract? There it is.
So Ray J said when Kim and Kris saw that success, they planned out leaking Kim's tape, but that there was actually 3 tapes that they sold, but they only went with the second one because Kris Jenner watched all of the tapes, made them make multiple, and then pick which one made her daughter have the best look.
In Caitlyn's eyes, Kim was a pawn, a starlet maneuvered by her own mother, handed over for fame and fortune. Kris's hunger for the spotlight, sources say, knows no limits, pushing her daughters into murky dealings that range from sketchy business deals to alleged money laundering, brand copying, and even questionable church tax maneuvers. For Kris, apparently, there are no lines she won't cross. The accusations alone are seismic enough to shake the very foundations of the Kardashian empire. Behind the glitter, the glamour, and the perfectly curated Instagram posts, the truth, if this is accurate, may be far darker than anyone imagined. And just when you think it couldn't get more explosive, Kanye West enters the fray, dragging the drama into federal territory. Forget social media theatrics. This time, he claims, it's legal fire he's aiming at, targeting Kim and her former BFF Diddy in what could be a high-stakes investigation.
Kim Kardashian allegedly had some videotapes and audio tapes that was actually recovered in the raid at P. Diddy's home.
According to insiders, Kris allegedly orchestrated countless rendezvous between Kim and A-listers, thrusting her into the spotlight at a tender age and blurring the lines between motherhood and exploitation. But hold on to your hats, because we're just scratching the surface. As if exploiting her daughters weren't enough, Kris's tangled web of deception extends even further, intertwining with the scandalous world of hip-hop mogul P. Diddy. And guess what? It's all about to come crashing down around her.
Rumors have swirled for months that Kim may have known more about Diddy's alleged illicit operations than she ever let on. According to Kanye, Kim didn't just have knowledge, she allegedly played a role, assisting in money laundering, silencing victims, and even taking a cut for herself. And if that wasn't enough chaos, Kanye claims there's an even darker scheme involving Kim, Diddy, and Lou Taylor, allegedly forcing conservatorships on unsuspecting celebrities to seize their fortunes. The tea here is scorching, the stakes are massive, and the players are some of the most notorious names in Hollywood. The story isn't just scandalous, it's potentially catastrophic. Kim as a gold digger, Kris as the puppet master, Kanye spilling everything without holding back. This isn't just gossip. This could change the game entirely.
Look, they tried to medicate me. I was exhausted. They wrongly diagnosed me. And they when I asked them, how much lithium did you want to put me on exactly? It took them 4 days to answer because they were embarrassed about the amount, right? And I refused to take this, right? You understand that if I had taken the medication, I would not be here, and it would have been, he was deeply troubled. We miss him. We love his music, though.
Well, they would have Britney Spears too. I mean, look at
they would have Michael Jackson
or worse, yeah. So look at what they did. Look at what they did to Britney. When she went in, she was tired, she was exhausted, she was in a bad way. But 10 years of that medication wrecked her brain.
Kanye is back in the headlines, and this time he's dragging Kim Kardashian straight into federal legal chaos. Calling out Kim isn't new. He's long aired grievances about her parenting, lifestyle, and public image. But now, the stakes are far higher. This isn't about social media drama or Instagram spats. Kanye is alleging criminal activity. According to him, Kim allegedly assisted Diddy in money laundering, putting her billionaire status under an intense, unflinching spotlight. It may sound unthinkable. Kim Kardashian, one of the richest women in the world, tangled in money laundering. But for those who follow the Kardashian empire, the pieces start to fit. Kim's history is riddled with questionable deals and shady maneuvers for financial gain.